dive. Such a wow.
Fire systems online.
Hey, look, it tank's low. Nice. Keep stacking, I look at this here. So I'm just setting up the back line, I can get one. Let's get my turret. Oh.
I will be the best.
Oh, painful damage is OP. I'm farming. Go for that mid lane.
Nothing can hold me back.
Oh my gosh, find the bot lane. Oh gosh. Okay. Got one. Okay, that was still work. So I switched to Lee Sin because this guy has armor. I'm just saying word.
The rivers
Plus
will
six.
run red.
Well played. Game's about to be easy, guys. Plus, Jeff is son of a. I didn't hit Hex Tinker. Tilted! I didn't, oh, rip. Okay, whatever. Actually working. there's a lot of camping happening a lot. Oh, the mechanics. What? 6. Hello? You can't handle my thing. Okay? You just gotta keep stacking, and you're good.
An enemy has been slain.
It's probably back.
Double kill.
I'm like low.
Ally has been slain. You have slain him. Ally has been slain.
It's back. The porn music is back. What I'm talking about.
Let's do
Need gameplay, we can watch that. Bart's not up yet. Now it's up.
A demonstration of superior judgment.
Oh, nice. Alright, got it. Nice. Cat just jumped on me once there.
double kill. I see a Soraka, I'm gonna run.
Another 5 minutes of it.
Escapes. Aww.
Chris, how do you know it's warm music? All the porn that you need. That's like the definition of porn.
Shut down. Double kill.
Are you running Yasuo?
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Panther Dragon, and today we'll be doing the top 10 best junglers for solo queue or patch 5.6. And there are several reasons why this tier list is going to be a bit different from the other tier list. First off, I did hit Challenger tier, so my opinions have changed greatly from being in Masters. And second off, the video was more rushed as I didn't do enough research before doing a tier list on the jungle. so I do feel like some champions were left out and I didn't include them in that tier list. But now I've got a pretty good glimpse on what's good and what's not, and I feel like other Master and Challenger tier junglers will agree with me on this one, as my other tier list was pretty biased to be honest. And with all that being said, let's get started.
Oh, rip. 30 top. I'm gonna say what
Alright, so at number 10 is going to be Sion. So Sion's Q3 can enter his pack as it does increase damage for jungle now, which means he does have a tiny bit slower clears, but he does scale with health, and when he does come out of the jungle, he feels really tanky still. And he still does have a lot of CC in his kit, so yeah, he's going to be doing a lot of work in those team fights. And of course having a bit of base damage too. He's also got a decent initiation, but the reason I say it's decent is because it can be easily juked, and he's also really tanky because of his W scaling with health, giving him a shield that's up pretty often when he does cooldown reduction, and does a lot of damage if you pop it. Some cons are that he does have a slow start, he cannot really gank that well since he doesn't have, you know, a good gap closer. Of course, once he is level 6, he can make those ganks happen, usually in the bot lane or even top lane since they are long lanes. But even then, the enemy will back off if they hear that noise coming from his ultimate, so it's kind of hard to make things happen, but of course he is a great counter ganker. And what makes him really good, honestly, is his kit. The amount of CC he can output while being really tanky is what makes a great champion right now. Of course, I do feel like he's still better in the top lane, but he also can work in the jungle too. Next up at number 9, we do have Udyr. Alright, so Udyr, the reason I feel like he's really strong is because of the combination with Cinderhulk and Phoenix stance, giving him a lot of AoE damage, so he's really tanky because he has his turtle stance and a bunch of resists. And so when he does go into those team fights and the enemy cannot peel him off, he's going to do a lot of damage just by standing near them. He also has really good clears with Phoenix stance, just clearing away the jungle, and he's pretty good in small fights as he will be doing a lot of damage. But he does have his cons. First of all, he's kited easily, so if he's trying to run into the enemy, he will just get poked down by whatever spells the enemy has. And in the early game, he doesn't have the best ganks since he doesn't have a good gap closer. All he has is his passive and bear stance. So it's kind of hard for him to pressure early game. But if both teams do come out even in the mid game, then he's obviously going to be a huge threat to the enemy team. Because Phoenix and Cinderhulk will definitely burn you, and even more if you have Thornmail and Ground Buff, so you're going to be doing a lot of damage. Next up, number 8 is going to be Lee Sin. So you're probably wondering why do I always put him back in the tier list, and sometimes I get him out and put him in honorable mentions. I don't know, sometimes I feel like he's good, and sometimes I just feel like he's falling off, and then he reappears back in my games, and I'm just like, okay, I'm confused. But obviously when you climb the ranks, you will have consistently Sin players who are good at the champion and play him pretty often and snowball the early game. So again, his early game is really strong. He can snowball and pressure a lot of lanes early. If he doesn't do anything and he doesn't start snowballing, other junglers do outscale him. So I recommend you only playing him if you're a really good Lee Sin player. If you're not, then just ignore him and play someone else. In my case, I can play him, but I'm not good enough to play him at my level. Next up at number 7 is going to be Vi. Again, still strong and really good jungler and can lock down people with ultimate. If there's one thing I'll point out about Vi with this tanky meta going on right now, is that her W does 3% health damage, so that might be pretty good against tanks. Of course, most of the time she will be going onto those squishies to kind of lock them down, but afterwards, killing those squishies, she now has to handle the tanks, and what way better to do than with maximum % health damage. Like, her base damage is still strong, she can definitely kill a lot of people, and if you are like 0 and 3 on her, there's always the option of going Cinderhulk on her, since she does kind of scale with health with her passive. Of course, her AD ratios are too good to give up on, so that's why you go Warrior, if you aren't behind, of course. At number 6 is going to be Nunu. And I know what you're thinking, he's more of a competitive pick than a solo queue pick, as he's not that useful for carrying the games. But with the Cinderhulk item, how could I leave him out, because before he used to only have good single target clears with his Q, and now he has AoE coming from
really well here.
And honestly, if you want to do damage, you want to use Skirmisher. That thing was really good for Nunu because he can stick onto people with his Ice Blast, so it's not a problem for him to get some auto attacks in. I actually do highly recommend getting Skirmisher on Nunu, just so he can do some damage in team fights. He can also counter jungle easy with his Q with a single target and pick up the big camp, although it's not as useful as it was in season 4
+6!
because he increased experience on the smaller camps.
What is wrong
And
with
honestly,
over
the
there?
only reason I actually picked him in solo queue is because when I don't feel like trying and I'm really late, I just pick him. It's not really that hard to play. And his game is pretty consistent There's no skill shots, there's no unique mechanics I have to do with him. All I have to really do is eat stuff, ward up the enemy jungle, throw some snowballs in lanes if I feel like going to them, and relying on my team to carry my team. Because honestly, in team fights, you just throw snowballs and some W and and number 5 is going to be middle. All is banned, and I can see why. It's really annoying to deal with. And when she does get ahead, it just feels like there's no way to coming back.
Open
and
the
it's
gates.
annoying
There
to
you
play
go.
with, since you can just kill you by landing a spear or even chunking you. And so a really good middle player would definitely show that she's really strong in the right hands. I have a low opinion of her because my name is at, to be honest with you. But other people do shit on me, I'm really good at her, and I've seen it. And that is why people ban her, because if they're in the middle player on the team and it gets good, well, you're not gonna have a good time. But honestly, even if the middle player is really good at her, and she's trying to poke your team down, it's not gonna work against really good players since they have really good reactions and can kind of sidestep those spears. So it's really easy to juke with her. You see the tag and you have vision of middle. And of course, she is incredibly snowball reliant and can really kill it. Except for heals, so if she does bad in the early game, it's gonna be hard for her to kind of come back. And if she is facing a bunch of tanks, well, those spears are gonna do really low damage to those tanks, but I'm not gonna use a big amount of time. But to finish it off, if you're a really good middle league player, she's probably gonna be your number 1. Next at number 4 is going to be Zac, and ooh, this guy, I talked a little bit of shit about him in my patch 5.5 rundown, saying he wasn't good enough and deserved a little bit more buffs, until I actually played him. Now first off, his clears are decent, since you do have that infinite sustain and you don't really have to pot until you're going to gank. The Cinderhawk definitely buffed him a lot, as he does scale with health really good with his passive. And once you get a few items on him, he's incredibly hard to kill, and like, he is just a super tank who never dies in team fights. His initiation is also really good because it does knock up enemies for 1 second instead of 0.5 seconds, which means you can use your Q before you use your ultimate now, since the enemy will be locked down for 0.5 seconds more. And also if you use your E and you land behind the enemy, you get a little mini insect by using your ultimate, as the knockback range is really high. Now there is only one problem I find with them often, is that if you do miss the E, you feel really underwhelming and you don't feel like you do a lot in team fights, or even ganks, because what you lose is 280 base damage and a 1 second knockback. And he does have pretty long cooldowns besides his W, so you kind of feel like you're only using your W in team fights for a bit until your E and Q come up. And in my opinion, he is a really strong jungler right now. You do feel very strong and unkillable, so he does make a really good front line. Next up at number 3 we have Gragas. Holy shit, this guy's actually really good. So he's a tank jungler, but he's also really good at being an early game jungler, and that's why he's here at number 3. He provides a lot of CC, so it's easy for him to gank. He has a gap closer with his E, which does also knock up, and his damage to take down enemies is pretty good. He does scale with health on his passive, so the more health he builds, the more regen he will get, and his base damage is pretty good. Also, his damage is from his W. He's going to be really tanky and hard to take down. And his W does come up pretty often too, might I add. But basically, what you're looking at is he's a tank jungler who's an early game jungler at the same time because he can gank, without waiting to be level 6 like most other tank junglers. And when he does hit level 6, his ganks do become really good. If you feel like some other junglers do outskill in the late game, but he still does scale better than Lee Sin and all these warrior AD junglers, just because of the Cinderhawk. Next up at number 2 is going to be Sejuani. So she did take a little nerf to her W, not scaling as well as she did before with health, like, you know, still scales with health. And her ultimate did get a little slight nerf, so if she risks it, it's kind of hard for her to go case like with 30% scale instead of 90%. But since these are just small nerfs, it doesn't hurt her a lot, so she's still going to be in the top 3. She's a level 6 jungler, so she's best at level 6, but even then, she can gank lanes since she does have a gap closer with her Q, and her slow with her E, and her W damage lanes constantly. Of course, there's Cinderhawk helping every tank jungler. There are things about her that makes her stand out more than other junglers. First off, Leon is really strong on her. She has an ultimate which lasts for 100 fights, and then she can follow that up with E for lasting about 5 seconds. So you're going to be getting double damage for about 3 seconds off the enemy item. The reason I feel she does outclass other junglers is because how she scales with health. It doesn't make her more tankier, but makes her do more damage. So that is awesome for the mid game and a bit of the late game, where basically she's a tank jungler that does a shit ton of damage. And the number 1 is going to be Rek'Sai. So even if Sejuani wasn't nerfed and was in her patch 5.5 mode, I feel like Rek'Sai would still be better than her regardless of my last tier. It's just that I was kind of hyped for all these big hitters coming in, and I just totally disregarded Rek'Sai for a while, and I just hopped on the Sejuani hype train and just abused her for a while. But now thinking about it, Rek'Sai versus Sejuani for number 1, I do feel like Rek'Sai is better than her, only just by
That's
slightly.
field, guys.
They both have their different strengths and weaknesses. Like for one, Rek'Sai is definitely better at the early game, and she snowballs the game incredibly hard because of her mobility of her tunnels and her ultimate, so she can dominate the map easily, while Sejuani is more of a mid and late game champion or a level 6 jungler. I do feel Sejuani does scale a bit better since she has a lot of CC and good lockdown with her ultimate, but Rek'Sai also scales well because she does have pretty good peel with her W, she's pretty tanky with her passive, and her E will always do a lot of damage since it does scale with AD.
Shut down. Shut down. Double kill. Shut down. You have been slain.
Aided by those summoners lost in the weak lane matchup that Ezreal had right at level 1. But he knew how to play around that. He knew where to apply the pressure. It was wonderful and it was right there. Really calculating correctly what he was doing. That's the Cradle, right? It's like, yeah. Throw coming in, down the right time. Quick win. So that's what you have to do. That's what he showed us with the Zillion and Poppy combination over and over and over again. it's a very strong composition if you play aggressive and get underneath those turrets. Rocks didn't do themselves many favors, and the one fight that it looked like they would be able to drag the game out for the 5 minutes before the over minutes is pretty much over.
Yeah, Zonoid, that's Blake. It's hard to tell them apart. Bang has lost a lot of weight.
Quite the play. He does have Telecom T1 logo. Again, on
during the break. Look, he doesn't have the best landing matchup. Yeah, so much was thrown out the window the moment he used both summoners in a weak landing matchup that there wasn't really too much to draw after the successful gank, and again, the lack of pressure meant that